Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Mustafa Gürbüz, and today I'm excited to explore Shailja Patel's groundbreaking literary work, Migritude. This book isn't just a book, it's a powerful fusion of poetry, memoir, and political activism. Patel weaves together personal and collective histories in a way that redefines how we think about migration, identity, and resilience. Migritude, a term combining migrant and attitude, is both a personal narrative and a larger call to reflect on histories of migration, colonialism, and injustice. Patel brings voices to the forefront that are often silenced in mainstream discourse, particularly the experiences of migrant women. In this video, we'll not only explore Patel's work, but also how it challenges the dominant narratives surrounding migration. We'll look at how Migritude critiques historical systems, injustices, and confronts stereotypes, offering a deeply empathetic and a humanized perspective. Together, we'll break this down in detail across the next few slides. Let's start by understanding what Migritude is all about. At its core, this book is an act of storytelling, combining vivid poetry, sharp commentary, and Patel's own journey of migration from Kenya to the UK. Patel shares personal stories that echo a much larger global reality: the displacement, struggle, and resilience of migrants. The title itself, Migritude, is rich with meaning. It's inspired by Migritude, a literary movement that reclaimed black identity and culture in a world shaped by colonialism. Similarly, Migritude focuses on reclaiming migrant voices, specifically those of women, whose experiences are often ignored or reduced down to stereotypes. What's remarkable about Migritude is how it uses personal experiences to explore global phenomena. Patel doesn't stop at the individual. She connects her story to histories of colonialism, cultural erasure, and economic exploitation. Her work reminds us that migration isn't just a modern issue. It's deeply tied to historical forces that continue to shape our world today. One of the most profound aspects of Migritude is how it dismantles the stereotypes of surrounding migration. Migrants are often portrayed in one of two ways in popular discourse: as victims requiring pity or as threats to national identity. Patel challenges both of these narratives. Through poetry and storytelling, it shows that migrants are neither helpless nor dangerous. Instead, they are individuals with rich histories, complex motivations, and incredible resilience. Patel highlights how factors like race, gender, and economic inequality intersect to shape the migrant experience. For instance, Patel puts particular focus on struggles of women, who often face dual burdens, being marginalized both as migrants and women. These women are not just passive characters in a story. They are agents of their own lives, navigating challenges with strength and determination. By giving voices to these experiences, Migritude pushes us to question our preconceived notions about migration and who they really are. Let's step back and look at the historical framework that Patel builds in Migritude. Migration isn't just about individuals moving from one place to another. It's about power, systems, and history. Patel highlights how migration, particularly from formerly colonized nations, is deeply rooted in the legacies of colonialism and imperialism. Colonial powers redrew borders, disrupted economies, and exploited resources in ways that still resonate today. These structural inequalities have forced millions to migrate, not as a choice, but as a matter of survival. Patel uses her own family history, shaped by the colonial rule in East Africa, to illustrate how personal and political histories are intertwined. By situating migration within this larger historical narrative, Migritude invites us to rethink how we talk about immigration today. The movement of people isn't happening in a vacuum. It's deeply connected to global histories of violence, exploitation, and resistance. Now, let's take a look at how the media shapes the way we think about migration. To illustrate this, I want to analyze a hypothetical news report titled Migration. This report uses several rhetorical strategies to frame migration as a crisis, emphasizing themes like invasion, economic burden, and security threats. The report relies heavily on emotional appeals, images of overcrowded camps, and dramatic music to invoke fear and anxiety. It also uses authoritative voices, such as government officials, law enforcement, to give credibility to its narrative. Finally, it cherry-picks data to present migration as a growing and uncontrollable problem. By framing migration this way, the media shapes public perception and policy. It reinforces stereotypes and creates a sense of urgency that often leads to restrictive and sometimes harmful policies. Patel's Migritude challenges these kinds of fear-based rhetoric by offering a radically different perspective, one rooted in empathy, humanity, and justice. Patel's Migritude is in many ways a direct response to the media narratives that we just discussed. Where the news report frames migration as a crisis, Patel reframes it as just a story of survival and strength. First, she humanizes migrants by telling their own stories in their own voices. Migrants in Migritude are not just statistics or abstract problems. They're mothers, daughters, workers, and dreamers. Patel also situates these stories within a larger historical context, showing how colonialism and systematic inequalities have shaped migration patterns. Importantly, Patel critiques the system of power that drive migration. She doesn't just ask, why are people migrating? She asks who benefits from it, and this critical lens forces us to look beyond individual migrants and examine the global systems of oppression that fuel displacement. At its heart, Migritude is a call for empathy and solidarity. Patel asks us to see migrants not as others, but as part of a shared human experience. She reminds us that migration is not just about individuals leaving one place for another, it's about the interconnectedness of global struggles. This message is particularly relevant today, as migration continues to be a polarizing issue. Patel's work resonates with contemporary movements for immigrant rights and social justice, inspiring us to challenge stereotypes and advocate for policies rooted in empathy. Ultimately, Migritude asks us to stand in solidarity with those who migrate, not out of pity, but out of recognition that their struggles are tied to our own. It's a call to build a world that values humanity over borders. Thank you all for listening to my video essay. Oh, that's it, yeah.